Now, I want to put this out there, and there's a couple of asterisks next to the sentence I'm about to tell you. The Leafs, quote, have interest, that's asterisk number 1, in Taylor Hall, asterisk number 2. Steve, explain firstly, asterisk number 1, which is have interest. What do you always say about teams that, quote, have interest?
I have interest in a Ferrari. I have interest.
Would you actually want to own a Ferrari if you could?
No, I'm not a big car guy. I think I like the which is the car that GTA 5 ripped off? Is it the Challenger? The Charger? Which
Probably.
is it?
Like the muscle car, 4-door?
Yeah.
I just can't get
the Charger.
I can't get behind a 4-door muscle car. The Charger's never done it for me.
Oh, yeah, it's the doors for me. You're right. I'm out.
It just doesn't feel right.
Oh, the doors. I've never been a big car guy, but no, I'm interested in a $10 million home. Of course they're interested in Taylor Hall. Why wouldn't you be interested in Taylor Hall? Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're interested in how many players are in the National Hockey League. 850? I'm sure they're interested in 500 of them. It doesn't matter that they have interest in Taylor Hall.
The other asterisk was, of course, the name Taylor Hall. And the report came from Darren Dreger. And there's a connection there. Can you explain that one?
Oh, really? You're making me do this, Adam? Really? You're making me do this?
Yeah, what the hell is the setup?
Wow.
I did that on purpose.
Hey, Steve, throw yourself under the bus.
Yeah.
What? Listen, if you want to hear it straight, Darren Ferris and Darren Dreger are very close. There is constantly, if you want to know about a Darren Ferris client, Darren Dreger is going to have the breaking news on that. That's fair, right? Is that a fair comment?
This fan base in particular is sensitive about that.
Yeah,
there's
we know
a reason
that.
Dreger had all of the scoops during the Mitch Marner negotiations.
Well, scoops and outrageous claims as well.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it was. Like Columbus being like, yeah, we can make Mitch Marner a $14 million offer.
I'm just sitting here on my phone.
Okay.
I'm here on my phone.
So there is obviously the Leafs would have interest. Friedge did say, though, that everybody thought and still seems to think that Taylor Hall will stay in Boston, but there's a 3 to 4 year deal that he'd be willing to accept. And I'm not sure that Boston's willing to offer that. I'm curious to see who he ends up with. Don't think it's true.
Take less to play in Boston, Taylor.
Yeah.
Do it. Now,
this brings me to the third player of interest. It's not Tarasenko, but it has to do with Tarasenko. So, for St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, this was huge.
This is huge news. Vladimir Tarasenko has asked for a trade, according to Jeremy Rutherford in his article for The Athletic. He says, sources familiar with the situation say he's upset with the team's handling of his shoulder surgeries in 2018 and 2019. His first 2 of 3 such surgeries, which were performed by Blues physicians, and he feels like there's no trust left in the organization. Now, when you dive deeper and you can read the article, they actually he got a surgery and then went back and said, "Guys, my shoulder still really hurts," and they realized that part of what was wrong in the shoulder was not even corrected or noticed by physician when the surgery happened. So you can see why he may not trust the organization anymore. If it's a Blues surgeon and he missed it, I mean, this is my career, man. And I've got 2 years left at $7.5 million. I should be in for a huge payday at the end of this. But a lot of people are looking at Vlad Tarasenko now, who used to be just a killer.
Monster.
And go, well, the thing that you do, the most mechanically important thing that you do involves your shoulder. Like you, and that's not all right. And you've had 3 surgeries in 3 years. I'd have some question marks. But one of the names they brought up that St. Louis would really be interested in is Matt Tkachuk. Obviously, there's the tie-in there with his father, who played for the Blues and was really great. But it would have to be Vladimir Tarasenko plus. But there's a chance maybe that Matt Tkachuk gets traded this offseason and that the Blues are an option and that Tarasenko might go the other way. Now, no guarantees that Tarasenko does this with a no trade clause. And of course, I don't know why we still get this in the comments section, but people are like, why are we even talking about this? He has a full no move. Everybody with a full no move has been traded. You know who had a full no move? David Clarkson. Like, you can be traded.
It's a hurdle.
But it's not a barrier.
No.
It's
It can be. It's there.
It's about as much of a pain in the ass as Trump's wall down in the southern United States. You can get around it pretty easy. So all you have to do is find a way. You know what I'm saying? It's got some holes.
It's not where I thought you were going to go with that, but yes.
Now, what I found very interesting about this is I did a little deep dive in the Calgary Flames. Okay, so I used the cap-friendly expansion draft tool. And it's interesting that Mark Spector said in his article today on sportsnet.ca, Matt Tkachuk made it clear at his parting media availability that he wasn't thrilled about the reduced ice time he got under Sutter, which we talked about, prompting outsiders to speculate he'd like a change of scenery. He might be available, because look at this too. And Giordano, by the way, might also be available. The Flames will protect Anderson, Tanev, and Hanifin on defense. No question, right? They have to protect Lucic, Gaudreau, Monahan, and Backlund. And you would think Matt Tkachuk as well, but then you leave Lindholm or Mangiapane exposed too.
So
you might lose one of Lindholm, Mangiapane, or Mark Giordano, and you also have to protect Markstrom. You can't do that. You have to protect him because he's got the no move as well as part of his team.
You have to protect the goalie anyway, and he's the guy. But okay, so we have to talk about very key dates coming up here in July, because this is the most bonkers July in NHL history. July 17th is the deadline for teams to submit protected lists for 2021 at 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what the date is, but I believe there's also a date for players with a no move it'd be no move. Players with a no move to say whether or not they would waive it for the expansion draft. I don't know if that's passed yet.
So you have to protect guys with no moves, but they have the option to be like, hey, no, you leave me exposed, and then you can protect somebody else.
Correct.
Oh,
absolutely correct. So the Leafs, for example, have to protect Tavares. I mean, they would anyway. But let's say they didn't want to, but they were forced to. They could approach him, and if he was willing, could waive it for expansion. And it doesn't even mean that Seattle has to take him. It just frees up a different protection slot.
Right. The thinking is, according to Mark Spector, that Seattle would be all over Mark Giordano. But if it's true that, well, why not? Well, yeah, 1 year, $6.75 million. That's a pretty great leader to bring in. Unless I'm completely crazy here, Mangiapane seems like an odd one to give up, doesn't he?
Oh no, they're out of their minds to give him up.
Okay, so so again, we're going through this again. If you go to the expansion draft, and again, I could be completely wrong on this. Mangiapane he's an RFA, but he's eligible to be selected, or he's an RFA next year. Lindholm, Derek Ryan's a UFA, but he's still eligible.
Cap friendly switched over, and it's screwing a lot of people up. Cap friendly has already switched over to next year.
Yes, it's messing me up.
Yeah, so if you see any pending restricted free agents or UFAs, it just has the red or the blue next to it, not the dollar amount.
Right, and thankfully in the expansion draft, they actually say UFA 2023, RFA 2022, so it does tell you. And Spec said that maybe Derek Ryan would be a good pick for Seattle, considering he's from the Washington area. But
they could just sign him.
They could just sign him. He's a UFA. It didn't make any sense to me either.
No.
So you have to protect some of these guys. Lucic has the no move, but maybe
Lucic is the only one who is by default has to be protected.
But you have to protect then Gaudreau, Monahan.
Yeah.
You would think Backlund or Lindholm.
Tkachuk
has to be. So that leaves you 3 defensive slots.
I don't know if this decision has been made yet or not, but I think Lucic, first of all, the Flames should absolutely approach him to waive it, and I think he would happily waive it.
Yeah, because he's not going to get selected.
He's not going to get selected, and if he did, you got to remember that's a BC guy who. But he's in a weird situation where he's a BC guy who clearly likes BC, but he doesn't want to play there because of the Canucks animosity from 2011. And I think there was an incident or two
outside of a bar. There was one.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened, but that would be a great situation for him in Seattle.
Good point.
But they ain't picking him. They ain't picking him. So, and he probably knows that. So rather than, plant his flag and no, how dare you trade me closer to home, where I'll probably get a pay raise as well. Rather than do that, he'll I imagine he would waive it, freeing up a spot for the Flames.